G'day everyone. Welcome to the Honest Wargamer Down Under. It's your Friday and I'm joined here by the other Dan of Australia.
Some may say I'm no longer the Dan.
Yeah, the secondary Dan. So there's at any point in time there can only ever be one Dan in the entire world.
As it were.
Yeah, and it's whichever Dan most recently beat any of the other Dans. And since our last game of Blood Bowl
did not go well,
I shit mixed his rats so hard that I think there was only 2 left on the pitch by the end. I am currently the primary Dan.
It's been a change. I've been the primary Dan for a few years.
Yeah, you beat me at Sydney Slaughter a couple of years back.
2017. Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to apologise in advance if at any point you hear me squeal like a girl or a gigantic crash of thunder, or if the internet just completely shits itself and dies. That is because right now we are in the middle of one of the biggest summer storms we've had. I'm scared to look outside. It actually sounds like the world is ending.
I'm not, because I'm English and this is normal.
Yeah, right. The water falling from the heavens is normal for you.
It's reminding me of home.
Right. Well, the fact that the entire place sounds like the windows are rattling and the storm is actually trying to force its way inside.
Yeah. This is just another Friday.
Yeah, right. Okay. And we're in a nice vibro, thin-ass wooden office building. So yeah, it could mess us up. Now, from wherever you're watching, just sign off. We're obviously in Australia, so it's a cheeky Friday evening right now. Australia. We're just enjoying ourselves, having a bevy, just relaxing. Today, knocking back a few Summersby apple ciders because that's all I had in the fridge.
Are they sponsoring us?
No, but if any alcohol out there wants to give me alcohol to drink, I will drink your alcohol, unless it's Foster's, in which case you can go...
or alcohol free.
Can I have your Vault-Tec hat? No, you can't, because I'm worried that they're going to go under after the last game. The Fallout 76, high hopes. I wanted to believe, and unfortunately, it didn't live up to expectations. So yeah, let us know where you're watching from, whether you're fellow Australians winding down for a cheeky weekend in this big ass storm, or if you're waking up, or wherever you are. So we're going to be talking about a few things here today. Going to be chatting about CanCon, which we were both at in capacities that we've never been to a tournament.
Very different experience.
Yeah. So we're going to have a chat about CanCon, world's biggest Age of Sigmar event so far. We're going to have a talk about, obviously, Dan, some of you might know, is well known for being a prolific Skaven player, but not the standard stuff. Like
this kicks off my Skaven media tour.
Yeah.
I have had many requests for my opinion by different people.
Yep.
Each fighting to get there first until you text me this afternoon, and I was like, all right.
There we go. So we've got him here first. Finger on the button.
This is an exclusive.
We're on a hot topic.
Until the week on Sunday, and I do Doom and Darkness. Yeah.
I'm going to aim to ask you questions that will in absolutely no way help people know whether they should buy the battle tome.
All right.
But just confuse people more.
Let's pretend we know more than we do.
Yeah, that's it. And that's generally the best way to do it. Also, we're going to break down all the stats from CanCon as well, because it's really interesting. Unless you haven't heard, it was won by Blades of Khorne, which kind of came out of nowhere. And right on his heels were some Legions and Nagash armies, so obviously they're still doing quite strong. But yeah, we're going to be chatting about some hobby. Got a couple of people, Minnesota, USA, Scotland. Wow, okay. So what time is it in the US, just out of curiosity? And it's winter for you guys, apparently? That'd be nice. That'd be nice, rather than like 48-degree days and shit like that.
I wonder what the winter in Scotland is like.
I imagine it's...
pretty cold. Same as the summer.
Probably, yeah.
There's a French person.
Yeah. Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, bonsoir.
Wow. Oh, yeah, there you go. You're fluent, right? I think I learned a little bit. I think I learnt to do the heads and shoulders, knees and toes song in French.
Elbow?
Like tête, épaules, genoux et pieds, something like that. I'm sure you'll correct me if I got that wrong. Russia! My God!
And bienvenue.
Oh, man. Yeah, you guys are...
I don't know any Russian.
You're freaking legends. I don't know any Russian. I can do a bad Russian accent, but I'm not going to.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, just a little one. Yeah, NZ. Oh, baby. Yeah, Kachev. Good to see you, man. Good to see you again.
Is it New Zealand?
I did it well. I didn't even do it terribly. I did it relatively okay.
The Russian accent?
No, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to do a bad insulting accent.
The head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
Okay.
I can, if I need to go to a hospital and if I have a very specific injury, I can tell them what hurts.
I'm pretty sure ambulance is the same word.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I could get if I'm injured, I'm right. Any other circumstance, I'm fucked.
Yeah. Okay. Vous avez m'aider is you must help me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So not only talking Age of Sigmar, we're educational now. We're teaching people. So yeah. Just again, if you're only one of our recent people who've just joined up. We're in the middle of a big old storm. We're getting shit mixed at the moment by thunder, lightning, and rain. So if you hear a bit of that in the background, that's lightning. What that is. It's warp lightning. It's inspired by the Skaven battle tome reveal.
It's the new endless spell. It's right outside.
Yeah, it's the 3 points have been placed around outside. It's fucking us up. So that's what that is. Any girlish squeals are definitely not me, and it's not because I'm scared of lightning. We're knocking back some cheeky ciders. And if you're one of our subscribers, you're a fucking legend. Thank you. You're beaut. I like you. You're good. If you're one of the people who signed up on Patreon, you're also fucking awesome because that means you like seeing cool shit. If you ever donate bits and we hit the bit limit, I have to drink a Foster's. So I've got mixed feelings about you. I like you, but I'm not 100% onto it. So we'll see. But you're just fucking legends. Thanks for being here. And we may as well just start having a bit of a chat about all the stuff. So I guess we'll start by talking about CanCon because it was huge. Start. It was rad.
It was really cool.
Yeah. So I was obviously there. Some of you might have seen on the stream. Commentating on a bunch of games with Rob and Nathan were over. We had Gemma, who was a legend, who came on and commentated her first ever game because she's really nice. Yeah, she's awesome. A really talented Chaos player, a really talented Nurgle player as well. She's been to the Masters, I think, a couple of years running.
Yeah, she has.
So. And yeah, so she came on and called a Nurgle game for us as well because I had absolutely no idea what Nurgle did. I had some idea with Daughters of Cain because they've fucked me up a few times.
Sheelers of Cain.
Yeah, the Sheelers of Cain in Australia. Yeah, the Sheelers of Cain. Cain's Sheelers.
Cain's Sheelers.
Yeah. That was actually a semi-passable Australian accent. That wasn't bad.
You've been doing me best.
Yeah, right. So I was looking at that side of things. What were you doing, Dan?
I was the buy buster.
Yeah, right.
So I was trying to help basically in any way I can, but I basically pulled out maybe about a month beforehand, just because I kind of wanted to take a break from the competitive scene. But then I offered to help in any way I could, and Clint said the only thing that we need is a buy buster. Would you mind? So I was like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Well, it's an important thing to have, right?
I was needed for free games because it was quite strange because usually as the buy buster you're needed the entire tournament or you're not needed at all. But it kept changing throughout the tournament.
Every second day.
Yeah. So there was the first 2 games I didn't play. The third one I did.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe somebody raged.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who, you wouldn't tell me, which makes me think I know who they are.
In Australia, we call that a dummy spit. What just around the world, wherever you are, what is the title for when someone like rage quits out
throws the toys out the pram?
Throws the toys out the pram. Oh, 4 months in a row, Kachev. Yeah, mate, down in New Zealand, that would be fucking awesome. I'm pretty sure I've got a wool blanket somewhere as well, so that'd fit right in, and I can say choice. And jandals.
Cheer.
Cheer. Yeah. And brew.
Cheer, brew.
Snowflake. Yep, that's a good one. Good one, Snowflake.
I think there's a more political context to that.
Yeah, true. But I do love a good dummy spit. Flips the table. I don't know if it was a table flip.
I don't think so.
I'd assume we would have heard if there was a table flip, but.
Shitting the bed sounds more unfortunate than like a breed.
Well, see.
Oh, sorry, I've got to go.
Yeah, like we'd say shitting the bed means that you fucked up. You know, like you shit the bed.
One thing I would like to clarify is there's a very common Australian phrase when you're angry saying, "Giving me the shits," but in the UK that exclusively means you have diarrhea. So just heads up right now, if you've said that on stream, it doesn't mean you're angry. It means
mate, they're giving me the shits.
You have
like
bowel
everyone's
problems.
thinking that oh god, they gave him a lot of prunes or something. Sorry, Octanault, I probably just butchered that. Ragu. No, that's like soup or sauce or something like that. That's great. So yeah, what we're learning is the multicultural ways to say dummy spit or rage quit. So someone rage quit game 3.
So I was led to believe.
Yeah.
So I played game 3. I put my Tomb King's army, but I took...
You took a pretty softish Tomb King's
I
army,
did,
right?
but it was like a cool one because it was like all the units all the models I like, but would never put in a competitive army that I've bothered to paint. So I took like a Royal War Sphinx. I took Sepulchral Stalkers, who were shit.
Because they look at shit, but then they can look
They
at
look
themselves as well.
Yeah,
right?
one of them did kill themselves in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took Prince of Pophis, but I was going to give him the Sword of Judgment, and I thought that might make him quite good, so I didn't.
Okay.
And yeah, so I played 3 games. I played a Blades of Corn player actually in the third round. He was really nice. We had a really good time.
Was it one of the dragons?
I don't know, but we were playing the game, and I used my Skeleton Horsemen, who are not good, to like 2.9 tag tie up his like Skull Reapers.
Right, yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, this is like a Skaven player whose name it's you."
It was like, "You're the dick. You're the 2.9 fuckhead."
It didn't matter because he killed them anyway.
Yeah, right.
Even with just one attacking was enough to finish my unit. So
Yeah.
Yeah, he was really cool. Actually, one of the things that I do think came up a lot with big tournaments is time.
Yep.
And we reached the point when it was like 15 minutes left, and I was ahead in points, and he's like, "We don't have enough time. We're going to call this.
Yeah.
You've won." I was like, "Well, actually, I think we do, because the last few turns, if you've already killed most things, can go really quickly."
Yeah.
I said, "I reckon you've got this, and I reckon we can do this."
Yeah.
And we finished the game, really finished it with about 40 seconds left, and he won by 1 point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so he
kinda
gave
worth
in too
playing
quickly.
that. Yeah.
It was a good game.
But
It was
also,
fun.
then he might have just been there to have fun too. So for him,
He
he's
was.
like, "You know what? When I'm down and we're out, let's just call it." And you're like, "Actually, mate, you might have it there."
Yeah.
Which is an awesome thing to do as well.
He did.
I
I thought
personally,
as a Buster, it'd be a bit mean not to when I knew he
not
could
to
win.
give him a chance. I personally also am of the belief, and maybe it's because I play Dispossessed and it's an army that wins in the 4th and 5th turn of the game, that it is your duty to try and give your opponent as many turns as you can. Like, you know, like say you're down and it's like, I've definitely been at the point where it's like we've had 10 minutes left and we're at the bottom of turn 4, and I think I've been against you once, and it's like we can do 2 5-minute turns, and we're just
That's
like,
often the case, because by that point of the game,
it's pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not often that, unless you have like a big summoning or like a death army that's bringing stuff back, it's not very often that you have
or
a game that's
that are just like 5 up, come back, Sequitors.
and we're back.
Guess who's back? Back again. Sequitors back. Tell your
Sequitors.
friends. Backstreet Boys, just in case anybody didn't know. Backstreet's back. All right. So you did have to play. You played round 3. And then the second day,
I got told I wasn't needed, and then I was, and then I wasn't, and then I was. So I ended up playing Adam Burt, who was on 3 wins at that point, as the Buster, because I believe his opponent's wife went into labour, which seemed like
a good reason not to come.
Pretty shit excuse, really. He really let people down.
It's like,
I mean, like,
she's had 9 months.
Labour takes forever. She's the one pushing it out. What's he gonna do? So
come home and find out.
Well, I was there to step up.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So
well, maybe you should have offered to go and help his wife going through labour. And
well, I never got that opportunity, so I had to play Adam instead.
How weird would that be? Like, you're in the middle of giving birth, and then some random just walks in and is like,
"Hi, I'm the Buster. Who's giving birth?" I've got my Tomb Kings.
Just start putting Tomb Kings on the nearby table. If you've just joined us, Dan has decided that the Buster's job isn't to bust the buy, it's to go and fill in for the person who might need to leave the tournament. Whether that might
regardless
be,
of how pathetic their excuse may
the
be.
birth of their child or medical emergency, whatever it is, the Buster will take care of it.
They're too drunk to continue because that happens.
Yeah. I mean, look, I have to say it's kind of fair. Like, that does happen a bit, right? People getting too drunk to make it to day 2.
I believe I've had experience where one of my opponents went to the bar, got drunk, came back, forgot what he was doing, and lost.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of a fuckhead would do that. Definitely quite understandable. If someone were to make a plan, you can see how they might accidentally go and get a drink and come back and forget the intricacies.
All
of
I
that
remember
plan.
from that experience is I didn't have that problem, and the other person did, and the game wasn't looking too great, but it swung back really quickly after that.
Yeah. Yep. I remember playing that game and feeling like I was in a not.
It was you.
I wasn't. That's right. Yeah, it was me. Funny that. I remember playing that game. It was an awesome game, and I remember thinking like, I don't have this, but I feel like I'm in the driving seat a little bit.
It was like if you could just kill more Jezzails, which you probably could have.
With a lot of war machines, and then instead of targeting the Jezzails with the war machines, I decided to hit someone else, and I shot the Deceiver that I was at -2 to hit or something like that.
It was something you didn't need
look,
to.
sometimes alcohol gets the better of us. I still finished the game.
With no heroes.
With everybody dead. But it was a good game. It was a great game. Everybody had fun. Everybody was good. Except for what I imagine.
If I recall correctly, I voted you my best opponent and voted you above me in the tournament, causing you to win and me to win second.
You did. Yeah, so, that was actually it as well.
Kind of backfired.
And then I voted you my second best opponent.
Which wasn't enough.
Which then, yes. Gave it away still. That's it. Drunk Dan for the win. So we got. Yep. Cool. Yeah, the people just talking about how there's a lot of swearing in Australian, the way that we talk.
I mean, as an international, that is not exclusive.
Yeah, no, it's everywhere.
I have Irish parents.
This is nothing. I just think the difference is in Australia, it's a lot of the time it uses a term of endearment, you know? Like,
we're calling someone a fuckhead.
Yeah, it's like,
it's too late now.
So we played that game. I got drunk and I lost it, but it was a good game. And I still played the rest of the tournament. But you know those moments where you make terrible decisions? I like to imagine that my miniatures are looking back up at me and wondering what the fuck I'm doing.
But yours were dead.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? So, it's like, I remember playing round 1 of Sydney GT. There was a unit of combat Storm Fiends and I had a unit of 10 warriors. And I have no excuse for this.
Was that against me?
No. And I charged the 10 warriors into the combat Storm Fiends. And I just imagined as I was rolling the charge and then went to pick them up that they would turn around and they're like, "Really, boss? You want us to do this?"
You sure about that?
Even if every single one of our attacks hits wounds and is unsaved by armor, I think we still only kill 1. And I was just
killing
like,
one's enough to make the other 2 run.
Yeah, but I was like, "Nah, boys, you got this. In you go."
I'm going to call it now. I think Storm Fiends are going to go up to Bravery 7.
You reckon?
Yeah, from 6. You know, because new book syndrome.
Yeah, new book. Yeah, they get better bravery.
You heard it here first.
Why people are asking why aren't you painting Skaven or Tomb Kings? It seems like wasted hobby time.
That's Brant. Shut up, Brant. I'm constantly painting Skaven and Tomb Kings. I was doing it yesterday.
What a wonderful segue to talk about what's coming soon, right?
Sure.
And
that's fluent.
that is that just smooth goodness of that big, hairy muzzle of a Skaven. So you're getting a battle tome. Now, I don't want to ask you about it. I don't want to ask you about the battle tome. I want to ask you how many people have been messaging you about the battle tome? Like just every Skaven player?
Well, I think there's only about 5 of us. So
yeah,
I have had messages. Like this is what's happening right now, okay? Because I'm not a morning person, so I'm waking up. And whatever preview they've done in Games Workshop, it usually happens at like 3 a.m. Australian time.
Yeah.
So I wake up and a bunch of people have messaged me. Like I don't need to read the articles because
they've already told you.
So I haven't read the one today about the endless spells. So they've been sent screenshots about what the Norholes do and the endless spells. So I'm kind of up to date. I don't really need to look. It'll find me.
Yeah.
So
they're like seeking. D&D. Cheeky hundo.
Oh, double D.
Oh, mate, I love a double D. That could be taken in so many different ways, as could a double D. But just chucking in 100, because he obviously likes 2 Ds. He's Doom and Darkness. We're Dan and Dan. He's obviously liking what he's seeing. Apparently there's a fucking lot of rat people in New Zealand. I don't know.
What's that got to do with Skaven?
I was about to say, I assume he's not talking about players, he's just talking about humans.
I had someone come up to me and ask me to make a video for their friend back in New Zealand who's like fanning over me about Skaven players.
Right,
like
okay.
That. So consider this the video.
This is the video, yeah, right.
Because at the time I was like, no, it's a bit weird.
It's a bit weird. Like you just been like, hey, blah, blah, here's something for your ringtone. Skaven.
I was like, look, I'm hungover, it'll be awkward, I won't know what to say, I'm sorry.
100, there's 100 for each Dan. There's 100 for each Dan.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Dans. That's like 200 Dans. We'll dance for you. The next time we're all at a tournament together, we'll give you a Danwidge.
It's interpreted in many ways.
Where you get in the middle and then we dance on either side.
We'll be the bread, but he'll be the filling.
Doom and Darkness.
Oh,
It'll be a quad D.
I'm so sorry, Doom and Dust.
This is going to get weird. So you've obviously been getting a whole lot of messages about it.
Yeah, the day it was announced, I woke up a bit late, and then I received several messages. I had like 13 messages in my messenger.
Yeah,
which is a great number.
I do have a very important question for you.
Yes.
How long do you think we're going to have to put up with people doing that Skaven yes, yes, no, no, speak shit in all of the groups and chats? Like, how long does that last?
I think for a little while at least, but I also think it depends, because what I've seen for the book thus far is the place. I'm really happy with what they've previewed thus far, because I think it really complements my play style with them and how I think they should be played and how it makes sense. Skaven have never been like a bulldoze your opponent type of army. If you run into me as hard as you can and I run into you hard as you can, Skaven are going to lose every time, and I think they should. So I kind of think that'll attract a certain type of player. And I think it'll really draw in a certain type of player.
Well, the thing that I've really loved is all the stuff that they've released seems very Skaven. You know, like it's like the Doom Rocket, good chance of doing a bit of damage, better chance of fucking you up.
I like the Doom Rocket because he can kill himself in 2 different phases.
Yeah.
Because he can kill himself in his hero phase just by trying to do his spell.
Kill himself
and then if he survives that and fucks it up, he might just blow himself up anyway.
But I wonder if Skaven are going to be allowed to, like, something about maybe taking more heroes or doing something like that. Like, I don't know. I just love, I like that they seem very themey about their stuff, you know? Like, I don't think anyone goes and plays Skaven because they want to just steamroll their opponents unless they were taking double Goutfire Scorch.
Yeah.
Almost everyone that I know that takes a Skaven army, like an actual Skaven army outside
generally
of Scryer.
Pretty cool people. And someone did do really well with Skaven at CanCon. I think some guy got 5 wins, which I'm really proud of.
Yeah.
So
which we'll actually have a look at soon. And we'll have a chat
we'll
about.
see that. So.
But like, even I love just looking at their endless spells. I dig it. I like that their spell that makes them immune to battle shock can also explode and hurt them.
I also like how your opponent, if you win a priority, and this is what I think people missed with this one, is it moves really quickly.
Yeah,
so if you win a priority and you take the turn, your opponent can just move it out the way to make it useless anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah, or put it right next to a hero, so if it
so they're like, wait, no, we need this.
We need. Yeah. I'd really like for my clan rats not to run away. Like, too bad, motherfucker.
Yeah.
So yeah, I dig it. I like it.
It's very thematic.
I really loved the vortex thing. The 3-point vortex.
The triangle.
Yeah,
of Skaven.
super cool.
Yeah, I like that as well.
I think it's an awesome idea for a spell as well. Like, you effectively just set. I think it's a high cast. It's like 8 to cast or something.
It's an 8 to cast, but they've also announced that there's a few ways of buffing your cast with the no holes counting as arcane terrain, so it's guaranteed. And the thing that I was most happy with that is a lot of the Skaven. The thing with Skaven magic is it's always been possible to do like a magic heavy Skaven army. Yeah. They've generally had exceptional range in a lot of their spells. There's a lot of 26-inch range spells, and that's one of them. And with setting up 708, it's a 33-inch threat. And
you know what I reckon is going to be cool is like doing it and boxing in a unit that's already there. Yeah. Like, or just using it to deny an objective.
The thing I like most about it is not only are you affecting someone's movement, their ability to get around, which is how I like to play them anyway, you're also exploiting someone who doesn't understand deployment if they don't think about it.
Yeah, true.
Which is how I win most of my games, is looking at little mistakes people have made and then zooming in on it. So,
well, all of a sudden, like Hag Queens and stuff like that are in trouble. Any army like Stormcast that have, or Dispossessed that have 5 and 6 wound heroes, especially in like 3 places of power or relocation orb and ones where you want to get your hero, duality of death, that gets set up around it. All of a sudden, your big beasties and things like that, they don't mind stepping on it. But my Dispossessed, I'd be like, I can't walk a 5 wound hero without a mortal wound save onto it because he'll get cooked.
Yeah, so pretty much. So.
And the rat swarm's just themey. Like, of course there had to be a big rat swarm.
I actually predicted, I was like, I think, and the spells would be like a bell, a little vermintide thing, and something with Warpstone, and it's pretty much what happened.
I really hope, like, my biggest hope for the whole book is that they take the Gracie on Bell and make it cool again.
Yeah, he's the artwork on the front cover. Yeah, as a Gracie and a Screaming Bell.
It's really disappointing. It's like, in the same way, I remember... This is going back Warhammer Fantasy time, so come with me on a journey, children. And when
Days of Square Bases and Goblin Green.
The old dwarf book for like 7th edition or whatever it was, or 8th edition, or whatever the second last one was, the Rune Lord on with the Anvil of Doom, like a really iconic dwarf thing, was quite strong and quite powerful. Super expensive, but it was cool. So you took it, and you could easily take those really picture centerpiece models, and then they released the new book, and it was shithouse. Like, it was terrible. It was overpointed. It was crap. No one took it. And it was a real shame, because you went from having this iconic piece in the middle of every dwarf army, or most dwarf armies, to never seeing it. And I think the biggest shame for Skaven at the moment is, like, Grey Seer, Screaming Bell is the iconic image of Skaven.
Grey Seers are the reason I first chose Skaven. Like, their lore is probably my favourite part of their whole history. Yeah. So even the way you become a Grey Seer, if people are familiar with that.
Yeah, actually, it's such a cool story.
Because,
you tell it.
Yeah, so basically there's only ever 169, so 13 by 13 Grey Seers at once. They haven't figured that out. They don't know that. So what they ask him to do is they ask him to touch this black pillar, and it can instantly kill you if you're not chosen. So if they put forward like a rat with horns when they're young, they touch the pillar. If they survive, they go on to potentially become a Grey Seer. Yep. They then ask them to go in this room with 13 other doors and touch one of the other pillars. 12 of them are rigged and will kill you instantly. The 13th one is right, but if at that time the capacity of 169 is full, even the right one will kill you. So,
just like, go!
But they're unaware of that. It's kind of implied some of the Grey Seers know, but they've chosen not to share that information.
Thankwall 100% knows.
So, yeah, I think it's really cool. I've started painting the Screaming Bell. Like, I've had one for a while. And the reason I'm doing it now is if it does come out underwhelming, I don't want to lose motivation. I still want to use it. At this point, Skaven's become a collection more than just an army.
Yeah, so. And that's kind of cool as well. Like, I'd be interested to see where Eshin goes as well, because you were big on Eshin.
That's how I started with Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, sneaky Eshin.
I took them to Masters a couple of years ago.
Yeah. You were real good with them, like painfully good. Killed a lot of my dispossessed with them.
Yeah, a little bit. I took them to Masters because I was like, I don't really like this side of it. I'm less interested in, so I'm going to take something I have fun playing. But that tournament is when I first figured out how to tie people's units up.
Yeah,
so I remember playing Knife of the Heart against someone where I skid-leaped my Plague Priest and just saw like a Chaos Sorcerer Lord next to a big unit of 18 Knights that was Christ Heart. So I just charged the Sorcerer Lord and I was like, hang on a minute. If I charge this and his turn, all he can do is retreat and I can just stand in front of him. Can't do anything. So I did that, and then the next turn I skid-leaped another Plague Priest and did the same thing. Then I skid-leaped an Assassin, did the same thing. Skid-leaped the second Assassin, did the same thing, and then turn 4 I won. So like, that kind of,
Fire Drake 22, 100% you're right. Skaven have an amazing range of models. And
everything people were asking for Skaven is a mixed book which encompassed all of those models.
Yeah, and to be honest, I might get slaughtered by all the Skaven players out there, so don't at me, bro. But I think Skaven actually don't need much in the way of range. They've already got some awesome models out there.
A few things could be with updated, but it's not urgent. Yeah.
But it's not like some of the other armies where they've got bugger all to put together and they haven't had an update and their models are out of production. Like, they have some cool stuff. What they really needed was rules, whereas there are other armies out there that really need models.
They need what they got. I think they could do with some like more Scryer plastic kits, like Acolytes. I reckon the Eshin stuff could do with an upgrade as well. The Gutter Runners and the Night Runners.
The Gutter Runners and the old Mordheim. Gutter Runners or Night Runners? The old Mordheim.
Both. But I also think, they needed the book more than they needed a model update, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, update for anyone that's been here with us since the start. The storm has passed, and we are alive.
We survived.
So we give thanks to the Great Horned Rat for not fucking knocking down the house, because it sounded like it was trying to. Actually, before we started the stream, I went to the bathroom because we might have had a few ciders before we started this, and we might still be drinking them. So I just thought I'd better squirt the musk of fear and void myself before we started. And the bathroom was absolutely like water all over the floor because the tiny window had been left open. I should have told you that. Yeah. I was like, he's going to go in there after me and think that I just pissed all over the bathroom.
I actually didn't notice.
So like a tiny window was left open and the bathroom was like semi-flooded. So that's how strong the storm was that we just had. If you are in Sydney and it's blowing over you, 1 like equals 1 prayer. We hope that you're okay. But it was real. I felt like it was big. You were doing the typical British thing of being like, this is just how we do things.
I've seen this before.
Yeah, you've played Knifey Spoony before.
But then I realised you don't have to live this way.
No.
So I'm here and I'm living the same thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just in summer when you have to live this way now.
It's just like twice a year instead of every Friday.
But yeah, I think the Skaven getting the book, some spells. Hopefully, maybe there'll be another I don't know if we'll see another character apart from the Bombardier, but
I've noticed that they seem to have just the language they've used already in the previews is the old Skaven books always had the ability to break the clans up, and they added extra characters into them. So there was a sort of pack masters, there was a master molder.
Yeah, right.
The Eshin clan would sort of just the assassin would have a master assassin, and if you looked in the preview they did a couple of days ago, they used the term master molder and death master, which implies that they're getting
clan kind
better
of stuff.
leaders. Yeah.
It also sounded like, I think something that they said where like the warlord clans, they said like every claw leader could have a different command trait. So you could potentially take 6 heroes each with a command trait. Yeah. But then I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I also read something that said that even if they're in a regular army, they still gain their like abilities. Like if you take a grand army, there's still a potentially they can take abilities that would only apply to like the warlord clans if they're in like a grand collection, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, we have to wait to see how it plays out. But it sounds like Verminus will have their own allegiance.
Yeah. So. Doom and Darkness off to play some Warhammer. Just before you go, what are you playing, and what are you playing? We're not going to sit here in silence while we wait for an answer, but it would be awesome to know. I hope you say Dispossessed, and that the answer is that you're playing Dispossessed and Dispossessed, which means it's a 100% chance of a win. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to see the Skaven stuff. I actually used to have a Skaven army, and I really enjoyed, like, it was all the random stuff. It was Doom Wheels and Hell Pit Abominations.
I really hope a lot of that random stuff. I was quite happy with the Doom Rocket because he can kill himself, and that was like that's why I played him in the first place, is how much they're able to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And I really hope that's really fun, evident. Right? I really want the risk of you just blowing yourself up.
Yeah.
And it just going horribly wrong.
He's playing Beast of Chaos, and it's against Stormcast, which is always good.
What clan's that?
Fling poo all over their bright metal plate and just smear feces on them.
And drop their models in Dettol.
And then drop their models in Dettol. Yeah, obviously not yet.
Drop down. 9 away in Dettol.
And then just a whole bucket of Dettol. You're like, surprise attack, endless spell.
If you don't drop down by turn 3, you get dropped in Bleach.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I liked it. I really liked that randomly, like your Doom Wheels could get hit and then be facing a different way and smash into the side of your own units and all that kind of random stuff.
More of that, really. I'd be quite happy if that stuff came back.
Yeah, and I mean, I think competitively it means it's unlikely that we'll see Skaven easily get to the podium.
It means like netlisters will stay clear.
Yeah.
I'm quite happy if they're unreliable.
Yeah, that's it. So. But the thing is though, right, then you have that Skaven player that plays tactically, but that has that one miracle tournament where everything works. Yeah. And they'll take it out, and that'll be the most Skaven thing ever, because he's just like, yes, I always knew that I would win. Oh god,
and then just did it.
Yeah. And then his next tournament, he won't win a single game because the Horned Rat will have abandoned him.
How it goes sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So what we might have a quick chat about, we're going to have a look at some of the CanCon stuff. So now, some of you might be aware of the machine that is LLV, and he has just put together all of the CanCon stats. We've got a full breakdown to look at.
It's very colourful.
It's colour coordinated, which I'm always a fan of because it makes it easier to read.
Unless you're red-green deficient.
Unless you're red-green deficient, in which case, or black-white. If you have a problem with black-white, I think you're probably gonna struggle.
We'll tell you,
but we'll help you out.
Yeah. But we're good like that.
We're gonna have a quick look at it now. So CanCon, right? Obviously won by Khorne. Who took it out. But as you can see, you might have to zoom in depending on how far away you are from your screen. Legions of Nagash, 25 players, the most represented there were.
Be interested to see that broken down into Legion of Blood.
Legion of I know there was at least one blood.
I saw one blood.
Yeah.
A girl, she looked like she was having fun.
Yeah, and like that's cool. I always dig Legion of Blood. They got a whole lot of cool stuff going on. But they're slightly underrepresented compared to the rest of the world, and they only had a 54% win rate, which is down a few percent on what they should have been getting. Which personally I thought was, really interesting. They were right there. They were there at 2 and 3. So the second and third went to Legions of Nagash. But the big thing to look at is there were 25 Legions of Nagash players. 10 of them went 4 wins or above. And 17 of them went 3 wins or above. So 17 of them went 50% or more. 10 of them went 4 or more. Which kind of like, I know that there are a lot of people who talk about like whether they're a crutch or whether things are overpowered or stuff like that. I think that there's a bit of a sign there that when you have an army that is just doing that well. Now, I'm not saying it's bad. I am building a Legions of Nagash army. I am just as big a piece of shit as everyone.
It'll be nerfed.
Yeah, no. Yeah, look, well, maybe I might get distracted by something else. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Legions of Nagash at the moment?
I think they're interesting. I like Legions of Nagash. Every now and again, when someone's a dick and doesn't let me use my Tomb Kings rules, I will use Legions of Nagash rules. And it's the only army I've technically played outside of Tomb Kings and Skaven. Yeah,
you were saying the other day that you have never bought an Age of Sigmar model.
I've never had a model that comes with a round base other than Plague Monks, but they're not really an Age of Sigmar model.
Every single model that you've ever bought was released post Age of Sigmar. Now you can't see just below what you're looking at right now. Just below the stats, it shows the armies that weren't present, and I can confirm that Dispossessed didn't lose a single game all CanCon, which is wonderful for everybody to know.
If I did go, I was going to take Clan Pestilence, and no one took them.
And no one took Pestilence.
That was a bit sad.
Yeah. So one of the other things that like we're just having a look at it that I think is really interesting is like you look at Blades of Khorne, right? They're the second line you've got there. 11 players, so only 5% representation, which isn't massive. It's not tiny. They were a flat 50% win rate. So one person went 6 wins with them, which was the winner, Mr. Matt Campbell. No one went 5. 3 players went 4 wins. So all of them were 4 wins or fewer. Which I think it kind of shows that I feel that kind of points out that Khorne is a little bit balanced. But also, I think that it's a good sign. Like Matt's last game, watching it back, he played that really well. And
I didn't get to see that.
Yeah. And I think what's disappointing is there's actually quite a lot, interestingly enough, in Australia, there's a lot of hate for Gore Pilgrims. But there's not, you don't find that overseas as much. Like
I think each country seems to have its own meta to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of things you can do in Gore Pilgrims that they've just announced a new book today, I think, for Khorne. A lot of the techniques in Matt's army and a lot of the things that people are doing with Khorne, especially with the change in Bloodletters, are going out of the game. So the standardization of like Holy Within and unmodified 6s and things like that. I know that Bloodletters got nerfed, so he replaced them with Skull Reapers, so you could still do mortal wounds on like 4s.
Yeah.
And sort of the Bloodthirsters are severely undercosted for what they can do.
And
I feel like those things are there, but in other ways they're too expensive. So but yeah, I think they're a balanced army, but in a very weird way.
I'm glad we're seeing a new book for them. They announced today that they're getting a new book.
Yeah.
Mostly because of that, but also something that talking to Matt, and we've actually recorded an interview with Matt that we'll be putting out as a podcast in the next week.
He knows what he's doing as well.
He knows what he's doing, but also something that he pointed out, which I think is a really good point, is that Blades of Khorne doesn't play like Blades of Khorne without Gore Pilgrims in the first few turns. Because all of the things that give you your abilities are your blood tithe points. But prior to that, you really don't have a whole lot of stuff going on. And so I actually dig why some people choose to take the formations that we see quite regularly, Gore Pilgrims, Murder Host, because without them, your Slaughter Priests aren't really doing your prayers very often. Whereas you compare it to like a Stormcast Wizard summoning a fucking Comet, who gets it on a 6 or a 7 if he's near Arcane. And yet, Slaughter Priest is only doing it half the time.
See, Slaughter Priests are one of those how a lot of wizards with 2 spells will be like 140 points plus. Or the Slaughter Priests with Gore Pilgrims become very reliable priests.
Yeah.
You can't stop them, so you can't bind them.
Yeah, true.
That formation makes you immune to battle shock pretty much across the whole table. They can hit you very quickly with a Wrath of Khorne, which means you can't really get to Secreta very easily.
Yeah.
And it's the obvious choice, really. It's the reason it's popular.
But I do think though it's the kind of army that it pulls that off against you once, or like
depending. Because
I
think it's a very rock paper scissors type army.
Yeah,
but some great matchups. He
played it really well. He got very lucky that in his first turn, the Gadron Overlords had a deployment that put a lot of things in one area, so his Bloodthirster could hit all of them simultaneously.
He maybe, because I remember playing Matt and he did that to me, and I had a bunch of weapons teams which all count as different units, and they just all died. And then we played again maybe a month later, and I played it differently and ended up winning. But that's a very harsh lesson, that AoE attack that people, again, need to learn at least once to defend against. It's very powerful, and I think it's really gone under the radar, and I think that's why you won. So,
and it's good. It did well. Corin 1737 subscribing. G'day. Obviously, you're liking hearing an Australian accent over the Brits. Unfortunately, I've got a Brit here with me today, but we've subsumed him. He's one of us now.
I got sent here because I don't drink tea.
Kachev, I don't like to discuss how I pronounce the K word. It's poor, and my pronunciation is for shit. So we don't talk about how bad I am at it. But just looking back at the stats again. Skybeards. Yeah, there we go. The Skybeards. The Skybeards did remarkably well. Like, considering that they went 5-1 rather, is remarkable.
I think Caradron are really good. I reckon there are certain builds of Caradron that are amazing. I think they've gone under the radar, and I actually think they're way better than people give them credit for.
Yep, I agree. I think the problem with the K words, the Skybeards, the big problem with them was that a lot of people they went out and they bought an Ironclad and a ton of Thunderers, and then they converted or bought a ton of Ether Cannons, spec'd them all up like that. They were doing that drop list thing, which was just shit mixing everyone.
Yep, they were. I remember that.
And then that went away, and they pulled the plug and they bailed off it. You know, like they got out of Dodge.
Yeah. I think that was attracting a certain type of player, though, who clearly didn't stick around. But if you look at what else is left there now, particularly with the meta as it is, and that's why I think Caradron did so well. It's a very anti-meta right now. And there are other builds that are very strong.
Yeah, and shooting's kind of started to fall a little bit away, so people haven't been building armies to counter shooting as much. So, I mean, Matt said it himself. There were 2 priority roles there that if they went to the KO, it was pretty much game over for him.
Was the KO a Mornar player?
No, it was Zilfin as well. It was It was still a variation on the drop list thing, but it was used differently to that, and allying in 2 5s of evocators. But yeah, it was really well done. Yes, just everyone jumping on my pronunciation. Thank you so much, everybody. Kiradron. Skybeards. The Skybeards is what they are.
Struth.
Struth. The Struthbeards. But like, I think that there's a lot of lists out there with them, like Mornar, Zon. I think Zon's really underrated. Because I think the problem with KO players at the moment is all they're looking at doing was shooting.
I'm sorry. The person who just said you're welcome spelled you're wrong. Carry on.
Thank you. No, now, Kachev, you never get to correct my pronunciation ever again.
You are welcome, Dan.
Caradron.
Caradron?
Care of Drains. Car of Dreams. So the Car of Dreams players, I think they're still looking for the shooting version of it, where if you think about where Age of Sigmar 2.0 is right now,
combat.
It's really about combat, because that's how you push people off objectives, that's how you get all that stuff. So all of a sudden when KO can mix shooting with, they've got, charge, they can take things where they can deploy and charge out and get rerolls and stuff like that. They're, all of a sudden I think like Arcanaut companies with multiple pokey spikes and stuff like that will be good. Sky Wardens and things like that. I think there's a lot there, because they have a lot of maneuverability for Duarden, and I think that there's stuff that people aren't using.
I think the one that's gone most under the radar, it's just my opinion, so is if you take 40 Arcanaut company, all with light skyhooks and a chemist in Mornar, you can run and shoot, come forwards, pick something and reroll everything against it. If you do that in the Gash, he's dead. Yeah. And he's so prominent. Like, you can kill anything.
Yeah, he goes down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, consistently.
But just to jump back to the stats, to look at it, like you look at how well the KO pulled ahead because of that 5. But other than it, KO, I think there was only 2 players, and he only went 3 wins. So while Kron just blitzed it, they were really quite middle there. And if you just have a look, so a big thing that I think if you're not particularly good with numbers and they're melting your brain, that's fine. That is okay. We accept you. Is those last the last 3 columns there, the CanCon match win percentage, the pre-CanCon one, but then the difference between them. Because
plus 33% is pretty big.
Yeah, so like that's KO. In fact, that's them. They were usually winning only 1/3 of their games, but they averaged winning 2/3, which is massive. But even like a small swing, like 8.6%, which was obviously going to the grots. Even that's like a reasonable amount. I'm stoked for Gutbusters. Look at that, 12%. They won half their games. Gutbusters, half of their games. That's beautiful. But the two big ones, if you look down, 2 armies, they're about 2/3 of the way down. 50% improvement on how they had previously done.
With 1 player each.
They each only had 1 player, and they 50% improvement, right, with 1 player each.
Yeah.
They had no stats prior, which means that Scourge Privateers and Swifthawk Agents, that was the first time in a recorded tournament they'd been taken.
Okay.
They went 3-3.
Did they play each other?
I don't think they did.
That would have been a stream-worthy game.
We had Swifthawk Agents on the fourth game of the stream, and
You're right.
and he won, and they were really good. And like Paul, if you're watching, you were a fucking legend. Just an absolute.
He's a cool guy.
He's a wicked guy, and he knew that army to a T, and he played it to perfection. And I caught up with him on the second day, and there were 2 of his other games. So he won 3, went 3 up the first day, 3 down the second day. I caught up with him after each of his games, and one of those games he was like, I just got absolutely shit mixed. Like there was no chance, I just got wrecked.
It happens.
But 2 of them, he was like, there was a priority roll in it. He was like, there was a priority roll on Knife to the Heart, and if I got it, I went on his objective and it was game over.
Yep.
And it's so...
We've all had that.
Yeah, but so Swifthawk potentially could have gone 4 or 5 games. Like we don't know how it would have gone, but that's awesome. I'm not 100% sure as how well the Scourge Privateers did, but that's a pretty good showing for armies without an army book, without allegiance abilities, with only a very limited number of models to choose from.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I've played unsupported armies, and both of them are quite big ranges.
Yeah.
So I guess I've still had that.
Yeah, they've got like 4 units and a 1-legged duck to choose from, right?
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of unsupported armies or less represented armies that can do better than they do.
Is that the man himself in the chat? Is that you, Paul? You just say good evening to us? Because we're talking about you. Were your ears burning? And then you just went, someone talking shit about Swifthawk? Yeah. We weren't talking shit about them. We were saying that they're great. And we love them, and we think that you're a fucking star for going 3-3 with
exactly what we said.
And it was also a really interesting game to watch as well. Just all of their buffs, the way that they played around, they're so fast. Like, you know how Stormcast players have been allying in units of 10 skinks to capture stuff. I don't think that that's going to be the thing anymore. I think units of 5 Reavers are the shit. Like,
yeah.
For that,
buy them anymore.
If you can get them. For that, move, shoot, move 2d6 again. Yeah. And then, or move 2d6, shoot. Like, Jesus. Oh, mate, you're the legend. You're just, and also, can I just say, watching Paul and Bruno was playing Sylvaneth, play their game on stream. They were the 2 biggest legends. And it was hard commentating on the game because the 2 of them were having so much fun. We kept getting caught up in what they were doing. And so, yeah, it was a wicked game. You're throwing more in. He's adding in more. So there you go. The secret's out. Illyrian Reavers are the absolute tits. They're just so good. And I reckon that they're going to be the new skinks.
There is a guy I know who takes like 30 of them at once with Phoenixes. Dan Worthington, who chose to play Chaos Beards instead, and so he got what he deserved.
Yeah, he did. Did he get stomped?
I'm assuming so.
I hope so.
I hope so.
He deserved it.
Even if he didn't, let's tell everyone that he did.
But see, the thing that I thought was really cool was that Paul's list wasn't just all of the Reavers. It was only 2 units of them, which was enough to dance around, capture objectives, or tag units.
Purposeful.
He had 2 big blocks of Spire Guard, and just the amount of shots that they were putting out, the amount of bodies, quite durable. They yeah, Swifty. That's it. Or no, wait, would it be Swifty?
Swifto.
Swifto. Yeah. But yeah, it was insane. Just and with those banners given +1 to wound and like it's still doubling down because it's still one of the ones that stacks. They were like shooting and hitting on 4s, but then wounding on 2s or hitting on 3s and re-rolling.
Again,
and
it's an old unit with a buff that probably wouldn't happen now.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So I think if you look at some of those older units or less chosen things, sometimes you can find stuff that translates to the new edition really well that maybe wasn't that optimal at the start of Age of Sigmar.
Yeah, and that's where you then have interesting lists that like pull something.
Yeah, definitely. Especially something that's different and that you don't see very often.
Yeah. I reckon Stormcast players, that's where you go. I reckon that's what you do it. I'd probably put in 2 units of them instead of a couple of units of little skinky boys, because skinks might be rad, they might get to retreat, which is great, but yeah. Yeah, and he just admitted it too, right? He was like, oh, Scrivo's alive. Now, so Scrivo, for those of you who don't know, I went over to the UK last year and I met the team and we did a stream event, and Scrivo rocked up to day 1. And he was instrumental. Scrivo is the nerve center. He's the brain, right? Everything comes out of him. Day 2, nowhere to be seen. Now, the evening before, he'd introduced me to a concept called, I think it was, Scrivo, correct me if I'm wrong, a Guinness and Black. Yeah. Which I believe is a Guinness with like black currant cordial. In it. Yeah. Yeah.
Pregnant women used to drink it in Ireland. No, they did. Like the iron in it, they got told it was good for them and would help the baby.
Okay, but that might explain what happened to me. Maybe my mother heard that as
well.
My
parents are Irish. They probably did.
But yeah.
Poor sheltered life you've led.
Rage Howl, sticking with us for 5 months. You legend. Just obviously you like hearing the Aussie accents because that's the way it goes. But yeah, Scrivo then didn't show up day 2, and apparently he ruined Mr. Nathan Prescott's bathroom, which is...
well, when you do Guinness and Black, you know that's coming.
Yeah, that's it. It's like if you have a lot of Bundy and Cokes, you know that there's just pure hate.
Have you had a diesel? Have you ever tried that?
No.
It's like half beer, half cider and blackcurrant cordial in it. They're actually not allowed to sell it to you, so they have to give you half a pint of cider, half a pint of beer, an empty pint glass, and a little shot of blackcurrant cordial. And it will do the same thing to your toilet.
Christ on a bike. God. But the thing was, he actually did show up halfway through the day and start working in the time-honoured Australian tradition of just sitting there like he was like a zombie, just making things work.
Is he why I had to play Game 5?
No. This was at Bobo. This was over in the UK.
Yeah, sorry.
I'd love to get him out here. Scrivo, please come. I miss you. You're adorable. And you're at work. Okay, we'll stop talking about how much. It's called a snake bite over here.
Oh, it depends what part of the country you're in with the UK. So like where I was from, it was called diesel.
None of them sound like things you should drink.
Snake bite was when you didn't have the blackcurrant.
Yeah.
But then when I went like further north, it was called snake bite with the blackcurrant.
Okay, God.
Because we have culture.
Such a rich culture you have. But sorry, Mr. Grixty, if you are still here, because you did miss it, I'm just going to flick back to the stats for you to have a look at. Just chase your way down, about 2/3 down. There's 2 armies there, 2 forces that went 50% win rate, which was a 50% improvement from where they had previously been. And guess what, baby? One of those was you. So you single-handedly grabbed Swifthawk agents by the scruff of the neck and dragged them right up there on the leaderboards. So just legendary effort, mate. All those stats, the full stats, are going to be fair dinkum. Fair dinkum, what a ripper of an effort. All those stats are going to go up onto the Honest Wargamer website, so you will be able to go through all of them. Couple of interesting things though, like some of the armies that we usually see do quite well and dominating that were dropping out a little bit. Some of them that quite still reliable. Interesting to see how far Tzeentch has dropped, because it felt like last year all we ever saw was Disciples of Tzeentch everywhere, and now they've really kind of started to slide back a little bit.
Can I introduce a term though, because like Ash McEwen has done really, really well with Tzeentch even after all the changes.
Yeah.
When all the changes came to Tzeentch in 2.0, a lot of people raged and left. There's a concept to certain armies I want to call idiot proof.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that jump from what is the most obvious and easiest play style. And that's what happened with Kahadron, or whatever we're going to call it.
Cap. Yep.
And that definitely happened with Zeech. We all saw that. But if you still persevere with them, there are definitely some really strong builds you can use.
Yeah.
And even though we're watching the statistics fall, I just think those players are moving on to different armies. And I don't know, it must be pretty exhausting having to replace it every 3 months, because
you got to have a lot of disposable income to do that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, some people, that's just how they like to play. They like to buy with strong, fair enough.
Yeah.
But Zeech have definitely gone from, you know, sort of a very what's the word? Easy play style, or like very beginner friendly type of play style, overpower you without having to go anywhere near you, to requiring a lot more thought, effort, the ability to protect your stuff because you're so frail and vulnerable. But they've actually gained a lot. The spell portal is great for them.
Oh, definitely.
The ability to just hit you from the other side of the board.
Yeah, and like, being able to just like put something down.
Enlightened are great. They dropped 20 points gained in attack, which they didn't need at all. What's
selling a ton? Skyfires and Enlightened. What should we try to sell more? Skyfires and Enlightened.
This is why that was great. Everyone bought all those Skyfires. It's like, how do we get someone to... I don't want them to use that. It's going to buy the same kit, but build the other build. So this is what's going to happen. All of those multi-part kits, they're going to make one of them busted, nerf it, and then make the other one busted. So you have to buy it again.
So you got to buy it again. Yeah,
that's exactly what's happened with Zeech. So
I also think one of the interesting things with Zeech, like they were really raged at and hated for what they did, and now they're kind of a bit more in line with things.
If you play them competitively, they are still very, very strong.
Yeah,
they've definitely been toned down.
Yeah, they're not as overpowered, but like not having Skyfires doing D3 mortal wounds on like a 4 or a 3 up is okay.
Like, they got hit by the unmodified.
But
which is coming to a Jezzail near you soon.
Yeah, I know, right? You're done. You've cooked all those converted Jezzails. The age of the rat sniper's done. But yeah, I think a big one that I'm kind of interested to see as well is where they go with armies like, say, Ironjaws, right? Because Ironjaws, looking at them...
They were chosen well.
Yeah.
Well represented.
There were 13 Ironjaws players, right?
That's a lot.
Now, and no one is going into playing an Ironjaws army. If you've like seen any results ever, if you've spoken to anyone, Ironjaws players don't go in expecting to win the whole tournament.
No.
But they go in expecting to have a good time. And goddamn,
you always have a good game against Ironjaws.
They're always well represented at every tournament I've been to.
They're great models for destruction.
They're great models. They're great fun to play.
Yeah, they're great.
I know, don't know if you're listening, but Mr. Mike LaRue, last year at CanCon took Fire Slayers. Last year he took Fire Slayers and he had a really good time with them. But he spent the year doing up an Ironjaws army, knowing that they're not great, knowing that he'd like to do well with them, but also that at the very least, he has a fucking awesome game. And he came away from that weekend bubbling because he had an awesome time. He got pumped a number of his games, but all of his wins felt like they were well earned and well deserved. And if you're out there playing Ironjaws, I reckon you're a legend, and I think you've got the right spirit of the hobby.
I agree. Yeah, I spoke with him too, and he even told me like his aim going in was just to have a great time, and I think he did that. So and so did 12 other players who played Ironjaws. Yeah, hopefully.
I mean, and you've got Ironjaws. I think they're at a 40%, 39% win rate at the moment. So it's not like they're, if you go up against them, they're an easy beat. But I just like the attitude of the game. You know, you're not going up against someone who's going to sit there and spend a million years doing their hero phase and then movement phase and do all this janky stuff. They're going to run at you and they're going to try to tactically beat the shit out of you.
And you will probably finish your game.
And you will also finish your game. Yeah, that's also nice.
No one's bringing back a unit of 10 brutes after they're already dead.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you don't have to actually see them come back. So yeah, I'm keen to see it. Interesting to see that there are a few armies that we're starting to see them perform worse than we probably would. Like, I'm surprised.
Example.
Sylvaneth. I was surprised to see their win rate is still, it's not bad, but it's only 55%, and I'm surprised at that.
Was there a drop at CanCon?
No, that was actually up by, I think, 0.3% or something like that. So
they're very strong at the minute.
They're good, but they're still only winning half their games, which is, I think it's because there's a lot of Sylvaneth. The playstyle for them is very like turn one, hit. You know, like a lot of it's about taking turn one. It's about filling the board with trees and having a really strong turn one. Yeah. But if that doesn't come off, then you find yourself kind of hamstrung.
they're almost kind of cursed in the fact that they feel that they need to go first. Is that you're always potentially staring down a double.
Yeah.
There's definitely a difference in their build. They're kind of an army I hope gets shook up a little bit, because they were always like, when Naru was very popular, I never thought it was like game breaking. I thought they overcorrected a lot of the Sylvaneth stuff initially. But you saw some really interesting core armies with the Tree Revenants. You'd have like some Dryads, Durfu, Tree Lord Ancient, all this stuff. Right now I'm seeing 3 Branch Witches, 3 Branch Wraiths in every list, and about 80 Dryads. And no, I never see Tree Revenants anymore. Outside of Dreadwood, you don't see Spike Revenants. You never see the Tree Lord Ancient. It's not. I think they've gone from being one of the most interesting kind of model ranges to nothing but Dryads and Branch Wraiths. And that playstyle, I think, is kind of a one-trick pony, and I reckon that's why they're winning what they're winning. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's the, like, speaking to a few of them, it's almost like by the end of turn 1, they've either won or they've lost. Like, sometimes it'll be turn 2, but like really the game is over inside of turn 1 or turn 2.
If you can deal with Dryads or you can't, is kind of what it comes down to right now.
What your output is like against.
Is that -1 a hit going to screw you? Because if it's not, you probably can handle them pretty well.
Scrivo says Blades of Corn. Yep, Blades of Corn done took it out. It wasn't a dragon list that won it, but there were a number of those big.
There were a few
motherfucking corn dragons there. Shout out to any Australian who bought that, because that's like, I'm assuming you could have had to put a deposit down on a house for it instead.
Not in Sydney.
Well, not in Sydney, no. Just maybe a mansion on the Gold Coast. But it's big. I did not realise how big it was.
I did, because I saw it when I went to England.
Oh, right.
So I saw it like in Finecast unpainted, in Forge World, because I grew up right near Nottingham anyway, so I just went in there. And
it's huge.
Yeah, Deke has one as well, which I saw before.
It's beautifully painted too. He's been putting up photos of it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool model, but again, I don't think anyone went in there expecting to win with the dragon.
No, but I think it was the same thing like with Iron Jaws, right? Anyone taking the dragon was like, let's do it. And personally, I would have loved to play against.
Apparently, one survived the entire tournament.
What? Didn't I? No, that's cool, right?
They were probably too busy winning the objectives.
Yeah.
I think I saw one person play Sylvaneth where the wood stopped the dragon from being able to go anywhere, so they could well have ignored it the whole game.
But couldn't he have landed on top of it? Doesn't it have fly?
It fly? You still can't go on the holes, so no. If you put them in the right places, that dragon's a mobile.
Right. But yeah, I would love to play against a dragon list.
Yeah,
because I would sit there going like, how do I bring the dragon down? Like, I would want the glory of being able to pop the dragon.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, that's it. Like, can you imagine your Eshin army, just all of these assassins throwing their lives away, drowning the dragon?
I don't think they can kill it.
No.
I reckon that the Deceiver can hurt it, and then it would just kill the Deceiver. Yeah, right. I don't think Eshin can actually kill that.
But I think the
maybe
dragon's
now,
cool.
in a week's time, 2 weeks' time.
I guess
Deke, I want to grudge your dragon with a Clan Eshin army. Let's make it happen.
Do it. That'd be so good.
Yeah.
All of these Skaven assassins. And just see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be just throw bodies at it.
Don't cry when I beat you.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I feel like that dragon's going to shit mix those rats.
Something happened to one of my night runners. So I believe, I think Nathan stood on him.
Yeah.
And so he's just a foot now. So I lost the actual rat, but the base is there and there's a foot. And that's all that's left.
He's the Foot Clan.
I kind of he's my new unit leader.
Yeah.
So that'd be a lesson to other Skaven. You dare to fall off the table.
If you get stepped on,
actually, if I was playing Nathan, I stood on it.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was you that did it.
So I want to use him to kill the dragon.
Yeah, do it. I would love a chance to take a shot at one of the dragons. I think it'd be an awesome game. I guess the problem is doesn't leave you with much points to play around, but dude on top, he just absolutely wrecks stuff.
Pilgrims in there.
Yeah, it's just enough, just a cheeky little GP, sneak that in. But yeah, there were a bunch of dragons, which I just saw a lot of people who were obviously going there have fun. I know, talking to Dave, Mojo, his nickname, he was playing Bone Splitters with a
he's cool. I like him.
He was playing a Tiefruck with 12 big stabbers.
I saw that, yeah.
And apparently he was desperate to play a Khorne Dragon or a Nagash so that they could die. And when they die, they throw their spears that do D3 mortal wounds. He was desperate to play a dragon because all he wanted was his Maw-boys and his big stabbers to take down a Khorne Dragon. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. You'd want
My third game was Bone Splitters, so that happened to me, yeah.
Oh, really?
I didn't have a Khorne Dragon, but I did get taken down by some big stabbers, and it was cool.
Were you playing him, or was it different?
I was playing Matt Gammy's Bone Splitters, who had just played 3 Nagashes in a row. He's like, what do you have? And I was like, Death. And then he was like, not again. I was like, no, it's cool. It's cool.
It's like, all I played is Nagash. Yeah, and he had I think Gammy was running a Cunning Ruck as well, so I guess...
He did, and you can see how the May had fallen. He won the game. Yeah, he tabled me. But you could also see just how much of a point investment that formation now is. Yeah. It was a super fun game, though. It's one of the most fun games I've had in such a long time.
He's a legend.
Yeah, we were joking about what Royal War Sphinx was a crazy cat lady who's firing attack, was throwing kittens at people. Like,
I've been... Gammy and I used to play a lot of Warhammer back in the day when I lived up in Brisbane, and he was an absolute legend. He's one of my favourite people to play a game against ever. So
it's the only time I've played him, and he was like, "Oh, I can tell everyone I beat you,"
and he will too. He's going to take that one to his grave. So
cherry right for Gammy.
It's a big tick, a big positive. So obviously CanCon was just awesome. We saw a lot of stuff. I mean, the top table in the final game was KO versus Khorne, and I think that's kind of cool.
I think that's great. I also had one comment with that though. When you have such a big event, it's because I really do think you get a lot of rock paper scissors type matchups.
Yeah, that's true.
And don't take any credit away from him.
Oh no.
Matt did not play Nagash, and I really would be interested to see what would happen
if his list had to go up against Nagash.
But I also think the KO player would have easily handled Nagash.
Yeah.
So that's where and Matt beat the KO player. So I kind of do wonder sometimes of like just how much your run factors in. You still have to win those games, even if something's in your favour. I'm sure you probably had games that went.
Yeah, and you get a dodgy priority roll go against you at the wrong time.
That's all it can take sometimes.
Yep. Sometimes all it can take is getting a beer at the bar and forgetting your strategy.
We just verified those people that are like, you're just losing priority.
No, but see,
I legitimize them.
I love that. I love that that's a play style.
If you let that happen, that's your fault.
Yeah. And to his credit, you watch Matt's game and he plans for both. Like if you go and watch the stream back, he at the bottom of his turns, he is planning for whether he gets priority or loses priority, and I think that it was clever play. So yeah,
no, he knows what he's doing. I mean, like the way that I always try and approach the game is, I assume I'm going to lose, and then if I win, it's a bonus, and then because I planned for it, I often give it away. Yeah, right. So I try and tie people's units up, and you're like, you can have it.
Yeah. Well, I think the question that I always like to ask myself is, how can I give this away? Because I would much rather not.
And Matt does that too. Yeah. I think you have to play that way if you want to win.
Yeah. Well, especially with Dispossessed, they're so slow that if I can put myself
more of a handicap for us, but
I have to put myself on the chance for a double turn. So I'd much rather give it away and then take the bottom.
Poor choice of words.
Yeah, no, Dispossessed are a total power bottom. They work from the bottom and they just push their way up. But the cool thing as well was we saw the fourth game on the stream was Kron with his KO playing against Dave the Master Kerr with Deepkin, the fish penises. And Dave did say that he was trying this list, giving it a shot, and it didn't go particularly well. He didn't like it at all. I think he actually gave an interview afterwards saying, if you're looking for a Deepkin list, this one's shit. But it was an interesting game, and there were a couple of moments where calling it, we were looking at what he was doing and being like, what the fuck are you playing at? And then it kind of became apparent where he'd put things, how he'd split things up, and it was a heavy shooting army against an army that can minimize the amount of shooting that you can do.
You can really control your shooting.
Yeah, because you got to target the closest unit,
but if you can handle that closest unit, you're fucked. Yeah, but if the only thing that can take out that unit is your unit of sky pikes instead of picking off a character or something like that, it was a really interesting game, and I think that he did quite well with a heavy shooting list. Nice did an image. Oh God, I would not. Oh. So there's some image apparently. Let's just have a cheeky look and see. A gander.
Oh, yeah, just a cheeky. Oh God, no.
Is it Jordan?
Yeah, that's Jordan. Fuck.
Why so many Fosters?
And why are they all in men in tidy whities? Oh God, that's never going to leave me, is it? The idea of Fosters. So Jordan, right now, Dan is Jordan right now. Jordan is in Radelaide, down south.
Serial killer country.
Yeah, he'll end up as a body in a barrel. Google that. Google bodies in barrels, because if the wildlife,
Adelaide.
yeah, if the wildlife in Australia doesn't get you, Australians will.
South Australians.
Yeah, well, that's what. So Nathan, after his first night in Cairns, second night in Cairns, before we started, he came away saying like, "Oh, the wildlife in Australia is very dangerous. They've got 2 legs and they'll poison you with beer." Because apparently, I think it was some of the D3 Mortal Wounds guys just kept putting beers in his hand. Like anytime they saw him with like put a cup down because it was empty, they'd be like,
"What do you do?"
Yeah, it's like, oh. And I mean, he wasn't going to say no. So yeah, apparently he got quite a little bit to drink there, and had a really good time.
I'm sure helped with the jet lag a lot.
Yeah, that's it. You know, just smoothed out the edges on that one.
Also, shout out to those guys because like I've done that flight before. It sucks. And I didn't realize they'd only got in and were leaving so quickly just to do that event.
Yeah, they were literally.
It's usually the day after I land when I'm most like completely drained and fucked.
So I was
like, how are you functioning?
Yeah, I picked them up from the airport just after lunch on Thursday. We drove down to Canberra, out to Canberra.
God's country.
Then set up, turned around and did it again. And then drove back on Monday, and they got on the plane Monday night.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was.
I would not have done that.
It was intense. Yeah, actually, Scrivo did a similar thing at Crimbobo. He rocked up, worked on the decks. Well, worked on the decks for like a day and a half, and then clambered back onto a train, I think, and went home. So it was big, and they didn't even do. So you can get more expensive, efficient flights from the UK to Australia, whether you've only got like a 2-hour stopover or whatnot. I'm pretty sure they had like 8 to 10 hour stopovers in the middle.
I have not done that.
Their 24-hour trip was like a 40-hour trip plus trains and buses in the UK as well.
Yeah.
So yeah,
respect.
it was the fact that they were still functioning was amazing.
I saw them by the end of the Sunday. It barely.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to speak to Nathan, but I spoke to Rob.
But that's it. They were still on, and then the cameras went off, and they were just like, "Yep, cool."
I did speak to Rob, and he learned what the Aussie wave was. Because he was just like, "There's so many flies everywhere." So
it was great.
I was like, "Oh, this is normal. What are you talking about?"
There were so basically at CanCon, I think it was the second day, a bunch of flies just got in because it was so hot, and obviously they just land all over your face. And so it was so I grew up on a farm. So for me, they're crawling all over my face. Or like, so they go in my nose and shit like that, and just like, but I'm kind of used to not having to worry too much about them.
I've adapted now, but it took time.
It was interesting as well, because I was standing there seeing them doing this, and then I'm like, oh, that's the flies. Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to go help these people, these foreigners. Like, I know something they don't. I'm like, I understand what you're going through.
I can tell you, yeah.
I've been there.
You've transitioned,
And I was like, look how easily I'm managing this. I'm just ignoring it.
Yeah.
And maybe one day you could be there too.
You could reach that level, yeah.
You should take those flies with you and bring them home.
I think the other thing that they said was they flew, I think it was China Airways or something like that, or China Southern, and the entertainment headsets didn't really work, and apparently all of the subtitles were in Chinese, so even if they wanted to watch an English film with the subtitles on so they could know what was happening, the subtitles were in Chinese, so they couldn't. So I think they did 24-hour flight time both ways with no entertainment.
I wonder if they learnt any Mandarin.
Yeah, actually, that'd be interesting. They get back and they suddenly have picked up a few phrases. I know Nathan was a big fan of a film called Lovely Girl that he watched completely without knowing anything that was going on and just made up the storyline in his head.
I mean, they could have played a game where they watch it on the plane, they get back, they ask someone who knows what they're saying.
Yeah,
or rewatch it with subtitles that way and see how far off they were.
You watch it and write down what you think the storyline is, get to the end, and then like Google it.
That could make for a better movie sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. You could rewrite the entire thing. It was actually really cool. It got mega hot, which was insane.
Yeah, it was definitely an Australian summer day.
Yeah. For those who were keeping tabs, you probably already heard, but there's a massive rivalry between Australia and New Zealand, and it goes back in all kinds of sports, rugby, cricket, everything, golf even. We don't like to lose to the Kiwis.
That's why they tamper with the balls in cricket. That's why the Australians like to cheat.
Yeah, you ask Kiwis what they feel about Australians and cricket, and there's the same fucking jokes and the same whinges every time.
Oh, there was a lot of evidence though.
So what do you mean? There was no evidence. It wasn't on live TV. He didn't have cameras pointed at him.
How did he think he would go away with that?
Oh my God. And then putting it down his pants. Like, Jesus, mate. Just, bless his cotton socks though. I love that he did the typical kid thing, you know, like where you punch your brother and then your brother starts to cry and then your parents come and they're like, what happened? And it's just like, I don't know, you just started crying. And they're like, he punched me. It's like, no, I didn't punch you. You just fell down. That's all that happened.
I can tell you're the older sibling.
Yeah, I am. I might be. That might be the truth. But yeah, so it was really cool. It was a great event all round. Yep, there it is. There it is. Fire Drake, bringing up the one that I knew was going to fucking come out. Australia once bowled. And so let me just take you back like more than 20 years ago, I think. And basically we had a situation where it was the last ball of a test match between, I think it was, Fire Drake, correct me if it was a one-dayer. A test match. A testicle. And New Zealand needed 6 to win. 6. They needed a 6 off one ball.
Needed a 6 off one ball.
And so the Australian player bowled it underarm along the ground, so that he couldn't possibly hit a 6. And
I would call that strategic.
And
smart.
We are Wargamers, and that's a 2.9-inch charge as far as I'm concerned. Right there, 2.9-inch charge. Threaded the needle, and we won't be bowl
I want to rename it to less than 3 because it's an emoji heart. Less than 3.
Yeah, good. It was a one-dayer. Sorry, it was a one-dayer, which means you've got even less to whinge about. It was just a little...
Even more uncalled for.
So, famous rivalry between Australia and New Zealand. The Tasman Cup was competed in with 5 players from New Zealand, or as many players that were coming across from New Zealand against 5 players from Australia. They had to take their CanCon lists. Each table played a different game from the CanCon pack, and I hate to say it, but New Zealand won by 1 game. And
it's Hayden's fault.
And it was
Hayden's fault.
It was, we can blame Hayden.
I don't know if that's true.
The angry Wargamer. Well, he lost the last game, so and that's it. It was great. So the games were all playing, and so 4 of the games had finished, and they'd gone. They'd gone 2 each way. Right. The last 2 players playing was Hayden, the angry Wargamer, and the love robot himself, Dan from AOS Shorts. And my God, it was amazing how many people were just coming up to them mid-game and saying, hey, just so you know, whoever wins this wins it. No pressure. And like, you think that that's funny when one person does it, but when like 20 people keep doing it to them, you could see them just being like, yeah, fuck off, mate. Just right. Not right now. And Hayden went down, and the love robot himself, who was programmed to love and programmed to win,
he was convicted.
He was he done did it. It was actually a really cool event, and I hope that it becomes a tradition because it was awesome to see. It was actually awesome walking around 5 different tables playing 5 different games at the same time as well.
That's cool.
Like, that was really interesting. Which is kind of why I love teams events as well, when they have different missions. Yeah. Like, I'm a big fan of those.
They're fun. Yeah.
What's the next event you're going to? Are you going to any events?
I'm going to Saggy T.
Saggy
T. You haven't heard this? South Australia GT.
And
Saggy T.
Saggy T.
Saggy T.
Okay, actually,
Michael does not like us calling that.
Yeah, and apparently it sold out last year, didn't it? Like, I feel like it sold out.
Yeah, I think it was, he messaged me and was like, you should get a ticket now if you're planning on coming, because it's going to sell out. I was like, all right, mate. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I was looking, it was like 3 spots left, and I was like, shit, I should buy my ticket.
Well, that's what happened.
I did.
CanCon as well, right? It was like people going like, you should buy a ticket, and I was like, nah, fuck, it's the
My favourite part of CanCon was, can I publicly shame Night Page? No.
Go on.
Maybe not. It's just like I know that there was some rumours about how those numbers weren't accurate, that CanCon did that well.
Yeah, that's
from
right.
From a certain gaming group.
There was a group of people who were
thought
it was a lie.
A hoax. Yeah.
It was a hokum that there were fake players.
Yeah.
And they all showed up. And it was
what's
massive.
the coach got to say? First year for Saggy
Yeah.
T. It's still
Yeah, the first year for
next
the
year will be
SAGT.
Saggy T2.
Yeah, Saggy T2, sponsored by T2 as well, which is a tea company in Australia. God, wouldn't that be a good sponsor? I don't know if
Michael, get on it.
Yeah, get on it. Sponsorship from a tea company would be perfect. But yeah, first year sold out. I don't know, there's Border War. I think I saw today.
That's done pretty well so far.
Yeah, and I think I saw a tweet from Travis.
He's doing something.
Let me just double check.
I'm tempted by that one. I was actually going to stop, and then the new Skaven book's out, and it's motivated me to
get back in.
Yeah, I was actually going to sort of somewhat unofficially retire, but
yeah, yeah, right. Okay, you were just going to be like, yeah, I've done well.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, if you
now I have a reason to play again because I have something new for the first time in 4 years.
If you're interested, check out Travis's Twitter. So it's @Thonius83. They have a fucking sword as the first prize, and
which Matt broke 2 hours after the event. Just putting
yeah,
it out
well,
there.
it's going to be a hard. Yeah, so Matt's sword was plastic. It looked awesome.
I think it was 3D printed.
Yeah, their sword is fucking metal. It's a real metal sword. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this fucking thing. Look at that. Jesus Christ.
That's some great non-metallic metal there by Travis.
That you could, it's a legit sword, and it looks sharp as well. So you could win and then kill all of your opponents that you beat.
If you win, do you get to kill the wooden spoon?
Oh, no. You sacrifice the wooden spoon.
You cut off their dice rolling hand.
Oh no, you lose a pinky or something like that.
Or a testicle.
Sorry. So BrizCon only has 13 tickets left as of this afternoon. Jesus.
That's only just gone up too, though.
Yeah, it's a golden age for war dollies in Australia. If anyone out there is interested in coming over to Australia for an event from the US, the UK, whatever, there are so many events. Check out, it's actually, so if you hunt down Facebook, and there's an Australian Age of Sigmar page where they have an events list of all the events coming up. You'll be able to find something there. You also just drop a message. There are so many people out here that we can put you in touch with, like people that'll help you out, tell you where to go, where to be, where to stay, stuff like that.
Yep.
It's a really cool community over here. And it's hard. Yeah, Coach, you're probably going to struggle to take a sword in your carry-on.
Don't worry, Anthony, you're not going to win. I'm going.
Oh, yeah, right, okay. Yeah. Will you have a new battle tome by then?
I should.
Yeah, it's pre-order this weekend. So it's actually pre-order tomorrow, which means it'll be out next Saturday. You'll be
one of the things that Australians should thank New Zealanders for, I know that because they come first. There's a lot of Australians who at 11 a.m. on a Saturday will log into the New Zealand store to see what's coming in an hour's time.
Yeah, true. Just to get that little extra bit on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
So New Zealand, you're good for something.
Who's first in the world?
Yeah.
So yeah, and speaking of which, so if you're in Canada or the US, I'm actually going to be coming to see you guys pretty soon. So
you can have him.
Look, long story short, my taxes have been dodgy for a while, and they're looking for me now. So I'm going to be jumping across. I'm starting out in Vancouver. So I'm going to try and hit up all of the Canadian and American events that I can, jump across to the UK as well, and just see everything I can do. So I get over there in March, and I'm going to go from there. So if you do have an event, or if there is an event I should know about, I've had a bunch of people messaging me. So please, the Twitter thing is just right there at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Shoot me a message, let me know what events I should be going to, where they are, because I've got 2 years and a whole lot of stuff to kill, and I want to roll war dollies with people on the other side of the world.
I am Australian Dan again.
And you will then be Australian Dan. Or
someone needs to know what's going on in Australia.
But if we play a game before I leave and I beat you, I'm going to take the name with me, and you can be not Dan until I get back.
But Australia's going to need a Dan.
No, Australia's Dan will be off doing other things. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Those aren't good odds.
I'm excited. Putting tickets on yourself a little bit.
Do we have to play Blood Bowl again, or can we play something else?
I don't know. Rock, paper, scissors. But I'm keen to play like on the other side of the world, see what things are like.
It's definitely a cool experience.
I think it'll be a cold experience. Apparently, it's fucking freezing in Vancouver at the moment. I'm terrified. I'm gonna freeze my tits off.
I played a game at Warhammer World when I went home recently against another Tomb Kings player. It was really cool.
Yeah,
just seeing how, because obviously the rules are the same, but how some people cultures are playing. But he was nice. We all got on.
Well, that's one of the things
it is different.
Really keen to do is meet a bunch of people, because here in Australia, I guess the problem is if you want to go anywhere except for New Zealand, it's a really long flight, no matter where you go. So once you're,
I believe Vancouver is right in the very end of Canada.
Yeah, but once you're in the northern hemisphere, it's not like you're going across distances. You're going everywhere. But
right, we're making contacts with Brazil. We're going to go there.
That's it. Yeah, right. That's fine. I'd love to play a tournament in a country I don't speak the language, and see just how we can communicate using only war dollies and like.
I mean, you might need to extend the time.
Yeah, that's true. You need a bit more time.
Unless you're playing beards, it won't matter. You just win.
Yeah, that's it. You just have the stuff. You just win because you're like, oh yeah, no, I rolled a 3 up, so I win. Which would be nice.
Unless you get drunk, in which case you lose. But that's not you. It's not them winning. It's you losing.
Yeah. We're just going to harp on about the fact that I got too drunk to win a game. Is that
you weren't even too drunk. You just went to buy a drink.
I went to buy a drink and I came back after drinking many drinks. It's like acceptable. Sometimes we do it. Someone's name in the chat is Generic Gore Pilgrim, and I fucking love it. You're a legend. What a good name. Please tell me that it's minimum units of Reavers as well, and then
just
a unit
5 Blood Warriors. Just 5 Blood Warriors.
5 Blood Warriors, 10
Slaughter
Reavers, 3 Slaughter Priests, Stoker. Yep, min-max all the way. So yeah.
The Brazen Rune and that Blood's Creator.
But that's CanCon done and dusted for another year. Clint, last time I saw anything, he was talking about 200 next year and aiming for that.
I've been promoted from Biobuster to official helper for next year. So
really?
I'm in a chat with Clint.
You're an official helper?
Yeah, so he's planning it right now.
Yeah, I actually saw the night he got home. So he left Canberra at like 5 o'clock in the morning, drove all day, got back to Toowoomba after like a 14-hour drive or something, and then sat down and started planning for the next CanCon.
He's got a few ideas already that I think will... I mean, it ran smooth. There was a few things that happened behind the scenes for stresses for them, but I don't think really affected players.
Yeah.
It just caused them some very temporary problems.
Yeah.
So I think there's a few things I want to do to smooth it out. I think they do want more players.
Yeah, right.
I think they're trying to...
Well, I've been saying make it 400. Do 400.
I think they're going to contact the people running CanCon to see if there's potential to increase it. He's already planning like how much terrain he would need to build. He's seeing ahead really of if I start now, this is more manageable.
Yeah,
so,
right.
He's on the ball already.
Wow.
And I've not been particularly helpful in that chat.
Yeah, no, I don't imagine you would be.
If I'm still there by January next year, we'll see. I might be demoted back to the Biobuster again.
But yeah, it was an awesome event. Tomo shouting out as a player, it seemed smooth.
It was just a few like technical things that they found on their end that were going on whilst people were playing, but had resolved. It was fine.
I think the big thing as well.
But they still want to know how they can improve things. They always want to know how they can make it better.
But anytime you have an event, sometimes things don't go right.
The things that came up you can't plan for.
But it's then how you deal with them. Like,
they handled them well.
Does everyone find out? Does the whole thing collapse? And like,
well, if it did, you would know, and no one found out.
Yeah, exactly, and that's it. Well,
there were a few near misses in that event.
Yeah, Just basically, any event is Earth, and problems are asteroids coming towards us. And sometimes you got to nuke them before they get in, and sometimes they come past, and you're just like, "Oh, fuck me, that was close." So yeah.
Well, and truly, the best event I've been to the whole weekend was Whipper.
I just the thing that I noticed was such a positive event, right? Like,
it was really good. Walking around, I could see that.
And I think there was this like buzz coming from everyone because everyone playing there was aware that it was the biggest. And I'm sure that during the year it's going to be eclipsed. Don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like that's going to happen. But at the time, everyone knew that they were playing in something really cool.
I think it's good the community has given it that recognition just globally. Yeah. So that's very important.
It was a wicked event.
I know there was a couple of guys who travelled for it too from overseas.
Yeah,
I know there was an American dude there who came for it.
Yeah, there was and a carload, a couple of carloads that came from New Zealand as well. So flew into Sydney, drove across.
What I want to see is more Western Australian representation.
Yeah,
people from Perth.
Yeah, bring it on. Yeah, apparently there's a scene over there, and I'd love to meet them.
West Coast versus East Coast. That's what
that'd be great. Yeah, and so you've got Australia fighting New Zealand while also fighting themselves. You've got
loser has to go into the New Zealand team
fighting.
if they'll take them.
Yeah, yeah.
North Island versus South Island. That's what I want to see in New Zealand. Come on.
Yeah, and then you've got State of Origin. You know, you've got New South Wales beating Queensland every year for State of Origin. Like, it's just all that kind of stuff that's going to be constant. It'll be good. I love those little rivalries. So yeah, it's good. Look, we're going to wrap it up there, ladies and gentlemen, because I think we've had wonderful internet so far, and I think we're probably pushing the boundaries of what we can possibly compete. So we may as well. Queensland beating New South Wales. Tomo, mate. That's never going to be a thing in Age of Sigmar, right?
Well, it wasn't the last few times.
But you can dream. You can dream. We're not. And then of course the Victorians.
They think they're important. They're like Wales.
Yeah. Well, the thing is though, they're like they've got Ardfist, they've got Bendigo.
The last 12 months they've really emerged. Originally it was New South Wales and Queensland a lot, and they've just kind of really contributed recently.
It was Dave the Master Kerr, back-to-back Masters, is from Queensland. That is true.
That's not his fault.
But ultimately, you got one. You got one up there, boys. New South Wales have got so many.
You're from Queensland.
Shut up. But I'm not doing that well myself at the moment. I've been shit mixed a number of times. It's because I strayed away from Dispossessed for too long. I need to come back.
What did you think was going to happen?
I thought that there was something in Gutbusters, and apparently I was it. So how did WA get on? WA, I don't think WA was represented at CanCon.
Maybe someone.
There might have been one. I'm not sure if there was anyone from WA. There was a Tasmanian though.
Oh yeah.
Dag
Randy.
on the sheep's butt of Australia pulled through, which was awesome.
He's a Tomb King player.
Yeah, he came up, and the best thing, he had like this Tomb King's headdress on that he was wearing.
I speak to him sometimes on Twitter. He's cool.
Like that dude's a legend. Like travelled all the way.
He had a cool army.
Yeah, a real cool army as well. And having a blast too. Like he was just so fucking stoked with everything that was going on. I think
he went to Sydney GT as well. Yeah. He was cool.
I get the feeling that the scene in Tasmania is only just starting to exist.
I thought you went to say just him.
Is it?
Maybe other people.
Yeah, no, but I think it's only just starting to exist. And so I'm just awesome. It was awesome to see. Randy. But he was a ledge, and it was really awesome to meet so many people, which is also kind of why I'm so excited to check out overseas and meet a bunch of the US and Canadian players and get on over to the UK and, I don't know, fucking Wales, Jesus.
To meet Tristan Gray as a Canadian player I always talk to.
Yeah?
That'd be cool.
I'll have to meet him?
Yep,
right, okay. So, he seems cool.
He's a Tomb King's army.
You're vouching for him?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, why are you smiling? Is he going to shit mix me with his Tomb Kings or something?
Hopefully.
Yeah. Go over there and I immediately lose it. That's it from us tonight. Thank you so much.
Dan needs a Skaven character. For what?
Tomb Kings are pretty... I don't know, I'm so confused.
It's Liam. Shut up, Liam.
You're beautiful. I love you. Thank you so much for joining in. Anyone who's a subscriber on Twitch or Patreon, you're a fucking legend. Anyone who's put anything towards the show, anything towards getting Rob and Nathan out over here. Because obviously, The Honest Wargamer is not sponsored by anyone. It's entirely put together. Everything that happens is by you guys and everything that you bring in. So thank you for being a part of that. You're awesome. Thanks, Dan, for coming on, talking Skaven.
No problem. Anytime.
All of that jazz. And I'm so sorry, Shadowhammer. You got here late.
We're leaving because of you.
I'm really sorry, but on the invite, it said the party started at 7:30. And
we even
I'm
started
sorry.
late for you. That's why we were 10 minutes late.
Well, but he's chronically late, so it's hard.
He didn't vibe being on time. He doesn't vibe it.
So thanks a lot.
He's going to take to the internet now.
Yeah, I know. Here comes beef.
Just block him on Twitter.
So thanks a lot. You guys are legends, and we'll see you again next week. Keep an eye out throughout the week. I've got podcasts coming from a couple of different episodes. Got an interview with Matt Campbell, the winner of CanCon. Got an interview coming up with Gabe, who is the mind behind the Runax Wargaming. See how he got on with his Beasts of Chaos. So heaps of cool stuff coming up this week. And we'll see you again next Friday. Thank you very much. All right. See you guys.
Bye.